Hello everyone in the YouTube world, it's a Spirit Room 152. Okay, so I'm going to talk about autism and sex. Okay, because this is something I've been thinking about. Okay, so I think I've mentioned this before. I have Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. It's on the higher end of the autism spectrum, which means I hate to use this term, but I'm basically a high-functioning autistic. And, I mean, like, having autism, like, really hasn't stopped me from doing anything. Like, it hasn't stopped me from getting tattoos. It hasn't stopped me from planning 2 New York City vacations by myself. It hasn't stopped me from seeing my favorite bands. It hasn't stopped me from doing much of anything. I'm actually testing for my license in 3 days. Yes! And just, I was just, this is something I've been thinking about quite a lot. What made me want to do this video is, earlier I rewatched an episode of Law & Order SVU called A Misunderstanding, and basically it's about, a 15-year-old girl. Now, she doesn't have, like, a neurological or mental illness or anything like that, or so it seems. But she just, like, it wasn't, like, as part of her character, like, she didn't have anything like that. And, she ends up getting raped by one of the seniors, in her high school, and he's, like, one of the most popular guys in the school. And, and it's, like, several shades of gray. I mean, the guy really didn't give her, like, her options, like saying no, stop, just those kinds of things. And it just, and also the reason why I feel like it ties into the autism. People assume that people with autism, like, they're incapable of speaking for themselves. They can't, like, they're not incapable, like, they're just not capable of certain things. Okay, I have autism, but I am perfectly capable of speaking for myself. I have done it many a time. I'm still doing it, okay? I am perfectly capable of speaking for myself, and I do it, okay? Next point. And, despite having autism, like, here's the thing, there is a website called AutisticHoya.com, and there was this thing that they did called 15 Things You Should Never Say to an Autistic. And, number 6 was, can you have sex? And, sidebar, I'm still waiting for a Law & Order SVU episode where the rape victim is autistic. So, and if any of the SVU writers, see this, for God's sake, can there just be, like, one episode where the victim has autism? Seriously, I would love to see that. Okay? Cool. And, but just things you should, like, so back to that list, like, things you should never say to an autistic person. Number 6 is, can you have sex? Okay. I'm gonna stick my fingers into that pot for a minute. Alright, so I haven't had sex yet. I mean, I've, like, made out with guys. I did this one other thing. I won't say what, but, I mean, I haven't, like, had sex, that kind of thing. And, but before I ever did anything with the guy, now, this was a guy I was, involved with for a little while. Before we ever did anything, I made sure that all of my options were available to me. Like, every option. Now, going all the way wasn't an option for either one of us, because neither one of us wanted to do it. Like, we weren't ready for it. We never did, and we never did go all the way. I haven't gone all the way yet, for fuck's sake. Alright. But, I mean, I had every, we laid out every option so that it was all black and white. There was no gray. Just black and white. And just, we laid out our options. Like, he told me that if there's ever a point where I felt uncomfortable or I needed to stop, I could say so. Like, if I was over, like, at his house and I didn't feel, I felt unsafe and I needed to go home, he would stop, we could stop and he could drive me home and it wouldn't be held against me. um, you know, just having the option to say yes, no, stop, that doesn't feel good, this feels good. Can you try this? Can I do this to you? Can you try this on me? Like, just those kinds of things. And I mean, like with this guy, like there was never any gray. It was just black and white, just no gray. And I mean, and there were times where there were times like I would just say, like, I need to stop for a minute, and he would allow that, because I mean, he didn't want me to feel like, oh, he was just copying a free feel, but you know, he just wanted me to have that time, you know, just to, you know, calm down a bit, and then if I wanted to go back at it with him, then we would do it. But then sometimes he would need to stop, and then I would, like, you know, just those kinds of things. And it's just, I mean, not every person with autism, they never learn about sex. Well, it depends on who it is. Like, if the parents want to teach them about it, like my parents taught me about it, because I mean, about a few months ago, they acknowledged that there's gonna come a day where I'm gonna get married, and I do plan on getting married, and then there's gonna come a day where I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have sex. They've acknowledged that. They know that it's gonna happen. Personally, I would love for it to happen, but not till I'm married, because moral reasons. Yeah, moral reasons. And I do plan on becoming a mom, but adoption, because autism runs in my family, and I also have bipolar disorder, ADHD. I'm on medication for both of them, and being off my meds for 9 months just really isn't an option. So I do plan on adopting, one way or the other. I plan on adopting. No biological kids for me. But, you know, and that's something my parents have accepted. But yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, but, like, the thing is, if I were to ever find myself in a situation with a guy, it doesn't, like, I would not let my ex do it to me again. Now, it wasn't anything he did with me physically, but just emotionally, towards the end, it was just like, no. But, like, with a different, like, it didn't, like, if I just had, like, a different partner, like, I would make sure that all my options were made available to me. That I have, that every single option, it's available to me. And he doesn't ignore it. Like, the guy I was just mentioning, like, he never, like, ignored it. Like, if I said stop, he would stop. If I said, like, I want you to try this to me, he would do it, like, if he was comfortable with it. Just those kinds of things. And I mean, I feel like every woman, like, every person, like, man, if it's a man or a woman, if you have autism or not, like, anything, like, I feel like you should be able to speak up for yourself and say, this doesn't feel good. Like, just say, like, what you want. And I mean, if you're in a position where you feel like you're in a position where you can have sex and you can say this stuff, like, yes, no, stop, I need to stop for a minute, this doesn't feel good. Just those kinds of things. And I mean, it's just, so yeah, in short, I have autism, and I plan on having sex someday. I mean, that's a reality. I mean, don't get, like, I'm not doing it just so but it's a part of life. I want to experience it. Alright? I mean, I haven't experienced it yet, but just that kind of thing, but still. But bottom line, don't, like, also, if you're watching this and you're not autistic but you have another disability, don't let people tell you that you're not capable of having sex. I mean, if you are capable of consenting, if you are capable of speaking up, saying no, that, like, there's everything I just listed. I mean, in the words of Elliot Stabler from the pilot episode of Law and Order SVU, now, I'm not saying it verbatim, but close enough. Sex, I feel like sex should be a wonderful part of life and like one of the best parts of life and not one of the worst. And, but yeah, I mean, just like I said, I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like, if you have, like, it doesn't matter if you have, like, any other disability. I mean, I feel like every person, if they're capable of saying no or saying yes to having sex, they should totally do it. Like, I mean, I don't, like, here's the thing, like, another thing I'm gonna stick my fingers into, there was an episode of Law and Order SVU where the mother, there was a mother who had a 26-year-old daughter with, Down syndrome, and she just treated her daughter like she was stupid and, like, had no business learning about sex and all that. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I'm sure parents have their reasons. I mean, but for the love of just, seriously, I don't, like, oh, and also, another thing, if you're a parent and you have a child with autism, don't treat them like they're an idiot, okay? My parents never did that. They shared their realities with me. They're more concerned about what I can do instead of what I can't. And yeah, they want to see me get married someday. They want to have I would love to see them become grandparents. And I mean, seeing as I'm an only child, I'm pretty much their only hope of ever having grandchildren. But I'm okay with that. Okay, I pretty much went off on a huge tangent on every sort of topic in relation to autism and disabilities and all that. But just like I said, I mean, like, parents who are just, I mean, I have a friend who, now I don't know her brother's story, but her brother I think he has autism. I mean, and he's not, like, I don't know where he is on the spectrum, but he's not, like, at a point where he can work. But, I mean, I'm sure, like, they didn't raise him and treat him like he was, like, he doesn't, like, where he shouldn't, like, know certain things. But, I mean, but just, I don't get why parents, when children with disabilities, like, they treat them like they're idiots. Okay, I'm gonna stop right here because I have a feeling I'm gonna keep ranting and rambling and just keep going off the subject. So, the Spirit Room 152 signing off. Alright, bye guys!